Hi, I'm Chris from Airwindows, and hey, you can do this. Now this might sound kind of strange, it's just what I'm demonstrating stuff with. The reason I say you can do this is just bespoke with a bunch of Airwindows plugins and the Airwindows production drums and some amend breaks and things. But what I really meant to demonstrate is something else. You can do this. Now what is this, you may ask? This is a little thing called Airwindows Edge. And you can do this. What do you think of that? Airwindows Edge is the development of Hypersonic into a distortion plugin. But not just any distortion plugin, a distortion plugin based on the concepts that I've had in density and drive and so on from back in the day. So we've got a number of different things. There's a low pass, a high pass, and this output, and a dry wet, and the gain has an awful lot of gain. This is essentially a hard clip, but it's 7 stages of hard clip. And you can do this. See, the thing about Airwindows Edge is it's using that technique of filtering rather than oversampling between each of the stages. There are hard clip stages, but the initial filter going into it is that peaky filter. It's Hypersonic A, and we have 9 more stages of distortion, each of which has a slightly less resonance. So what you get out of this is a really interesting way of relating to the cutoff frequency. This is a low pass where it's such a steep low pass that you're getting a real tone quality out of it. But I did call it Edge for a reason. It's not a nice tone quality, it's kind of harsh. And there's a lot of range, because this goes all the way to the Nyquist frequency just about. It goes to 25K if I'm not mistaken. And then you can dial it right back to very low frequencies, and that's what it does there. Now you might ask, why would anybody need this much gain? And that's because I'm working on in-the-box guitar effects, and most of the hard work is going to be done using a plugin that I've been working on called Cabs. And that is not exactly a speaker cab emulator, but it does a variety of things similar to that, including simulating extreme loudness from a speaker cabinet. And so that's the sort of thing that you would feed something like this into. And get a really high gain, crunchy sound out of it. Because the thing about Airwindows Edge is you can get a lot of chug and gain out of this if you, for instance, ran a guitar through it. Also, there's something else. Here's about where the high frequencies cut off. If you're filtering a guitar tone, you might want to have it tuned in around here or whatever. It'll help restrict aliasing better that way as well, although you can, of course, make it as bright as you could possibly want. But the guitar purpose likes to use this control, high pass. So if your low frequencies are too heavy off the guitar you're working with, especially through the cab, the best thing to do is control it here, right at the beginning. And this is how you get your guitar amp kind of sound. Of course, the way this currently is working, you might as well use it for special effects and not worry about the guitar purposes. Like this. You can get a bunch of extra gain out of something like this compared to the all dry setting. Especially if you use it to just heighten the impact like this. That is Airwindows Edge being demonstrated on a rather mad breakbeat, which is all out of just bespoke, doing the bespoke thing. So you can do this, basically, if you wanted to. There you have it. So Airwindows Edge is Mac AU signed and retro, as in it will run on PPC machines. And it is also VST for Macs, retro, and signed modern M1 capable, much like the AUs. And Windows and Linux VSTs. These are VST 2.4s. Again, retro compatible, and I'm going to be looking into porting to the new format clap that's coming out. And yeah, I hope you like it. I've been doing a lot of live streaming recently, which is challenging in its own right, but it's worthwhile. So if you're interested in learning to code and doing this kind of thing, then drop by. And I'll see what I can do as far as explaining how this stuff is done. All of this is, of course, paid for by Patreon, which means that since it is paid for by Patreon, the plugins are free. Signing up on Patreon means that you are buying me more time with which I can do this and do more of this, which is kind of important, seeing as I have, let's see now, 3 stereo plugins coming out, another distortion plugin coming out, and the cabs plugin I told you about, at which point I'll plug a guitar into the system and show you how that goes. Here, let me switch back to the regular old camera. So I've got a lot of work to do, and that's not even counting the fact that I'm updating all of the plugins to use double precision processing rather than the somewhat excessive long double. And I'm going to do this and see what kind of efficiency boost I can get out of that. That's updating more than 200 plugins. So I'm going to be busy doing that, and I'll do the best I can with it. And that's what the Patreon helps me do. I get to focus on it full time. So I hope you like Edge. Edge is, again, it's a different kind of approach to distortion. You're meant to be running it at a higher sample rate. The higher sample rate you run it at, the cleaner it's going to go. I'm using it at 96K, but you could run it at 192 if you wanted. And that means that cutoff frequency that you heard gets more room to work with and lets you have better clarity. It'll suppress aliasing more thoroughly through all the stages. And since it's doing that thing, that means that the clipping can actually be very simple. The clipping on this one is straight up hard clipping, and it's using this technique to manage it. One other thing, since this technique is simple biquad filters, and so it's not phase linear, and so it doesn't have latency. So you can play a guitar through it live. I hope you like it. I've got a lot more coming where that came from. And it'll be fun when I finally get through some of these things and get to cabs, which I've been working on in recent days. And that should be quite exciting when that comes out. For the time being, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.